Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Sunday, March 1st, 2026. And look, if you have a physical calendar on your wall somewhere, I want you to walk over to it right now and circle today's date in red marker.
Red, bold marker.
Exactly. Because it looks innocent enough on the surface. Just another Sunday in the NBA.
Yeah.
But if you work in the front office of any of the 30 franchises, you know today is colloquially known as the Guillotine Date.
It is it's a grim name, but administratively, it really captures the stakes perfectly.
It does, because today isn't just about the basketball being played on the hardwood. It is about the bureaucratic machinery of the league. If you are a player on a roster right now, and you have dreams of hoisting the Larry O'Brien Trophy in June with a new team, you have until midnight tonight to literally get fired.
It is the weirdest dynamic in all of professional sports. I mean, you have agents calling general managers this morning practically begging for their clients to be unemployed.
Because the rule is absolute.
It is entirely unforgiving. If you are not waived by March 1st, you are totally ineligible for the playoffs with any subsequent team you sign with. You can sign, sure, you get your prorated paycheck, but you will be watching the postseason in street clothes.
Which means the next 12 to 15 hours are going to be pure chaos.
So,
We are going to see contenders scavenging for that one last rotational piece, and we will see veterans on lottery teams negotiating their exit packages.
it's the annual scramble.
So we have a massive deep dive for you today. We are breaking down this buyout market. Big names are out there, Tyus Jones, Cole Anthony, and we need to look at the financial implications driving these cuts.
Plus, we have to talk about last night. The Lakers, specifically the Luka Dončić and LeBron James experiment, finally look absolutely terrifying against Golden State,
And the Charlotte Hornets are doing something historically anomalous from the three-point line.
defying the math.
Right. And then we have to preview tonight's slate. We have a literal tiebreaker for the fourth seed in the West and a battle for the soul of the Eastern Conference in Philly.
March Madness definitely starts early in the NBA this year.
Let's start with the basketball, though. Saturday, February 28th, we have to go to the Chase Center. The Los Angeles Lakers walk in and just dismantle the Golden State Warriors, 129 to 101.
It was a clinic.
And look, we have been critical of the Lakers on this show. We have called them disjointed. We have questioned the rotations from J.J. Redick. But last night, that looked totally different.
It looked like a functional ecosystem. And honestly, that is something I haven't said about the Lakers since the trade.
Yeah.
This was a real fork in the road game for them. They had lost 3 straight coming into this building. There were legitimate whispers about the new ownership group getting itchy trigger fingers regarding the coaching staff.
The pressure was mounting.
But what we saw last night was the theoretical version of this team finally manifesting in reality.
The headline numbers belong to the stars, obviously.
Mm.
Luka Dončić puts up 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Incredible pace control.
And LeBron James with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. But reading the box score doesn't tell you how it actually worked on the floor.
No, it doesn't.
Usually, when you have two highly heliocentric stars, guys who desperately need the ball to be effective, it turns into your turn, my turn in basketball. It gets stagnant. It gets predictable.
Exactly. And that is the exact stagnation we have seen from them all month. Stand around, watch Luka dribble for 18 seconds. Next possession, watch LeBron dribble for 18 seconds.
It's awful to watch.
But last night, Redick completely changed the geometry of the offense. Instead of running a high pick and roll at the top of the key exclusively, they used LeBron as a screener for Luka.
Wait, let's unpack that for a second.
Yeah.
Why does using LeBron as the screener matter so much tactically?
Because it forces the defense into a pick-your-poison scenario that is basically mathematically unsolvable.
Right.
Think about it. If you switch the screen, you suddenly have a small guard who is guarding Luka trying to guard LeBron James in the post. That is an immediate mismatch.
BBQ chicken.
Exactly. But if you don't switch and you try to fight over the screen, Luka Dončić turns the corner with a full head of steam and a 4-on-3 advantage.
Which explains his efficiency last night.
He shot 9 of 17 from the field. He wasn't forcing those difficult, contested step backs we've seen lately. He was getting downhill at will because the Warriors were absolutely terrified of leaving LeBron slipping to the rim.
And that synergy just trickles down to everyone else on the floor.
Mhm.
Austin Reeves had 18 points on 7 of 11 shooting. That is hyper-efficient for a guard.
That is the direct byproduct of the scheme. We talk about gravity a lot in basketball, usually regarding Steph Curry pulling defenders out to the logo.
Sure.
But Luka and LeBron have this immense driving gravity. They suck the defense into the paint like a vacuum. Austin Reeves was catching the ball on the perimeter with 10 feet of empty airspace.
He wasn't even creating those shots.
He didn't have to. He was just capitalizing on the panic caused by the other two.
Now, on the other side of the court, we know the Warriors are without Stephen Curry right now. And we know that is usually a death knell for their offense.
It always is.
But losing by 28 points at home, that feels deeper than just missing Steph.
It exposes the fundamental flaw in the Warriors' current roster construction. Their entire offense is built on organized chaos. Split cuts, constant motion, read and react.
Right, the Kerr system.
But that system requires a singular, terrifying force that bends the defense, which is Steph. Without his shooting threat, all that running around just looks like expensive cardio.
They scored 101 points, but it was a labor to get there.
Brandon Podziemski had a nice statistical line. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, but he just cannot bend a defense the way they need. The Lakers basically stayed home, switched everything on the perimeter, and dared Golden State to beat them one-on-one.
And they just couldn't do it.
No.
There was one piece of news for Golden State that I found fascinating, though. Guy Santos. He drops 14 points on 53% shooting, and right after the game, the team releases a 3-year extension for him.
Yeah, the timing is interesting.
Why commit 3 years to a rotational player in late February amidst a massive blowout loss?
This is pure asset management. We used to call this the Hinkie Special back in the process era with the Sixers.
Okay, break that down for us.
The Warriors know they are likely heading toward a major rebuild, or at least a heavy retooling, in 2027. Santos has shown some real flashes. He is a big wing, he has a high motor, he cups really well.
He fits the modern prototype.
Exactly. If you let him hit restricted free agency this summer, another team might throw an offer sheet at him and the price goes up.
So you strike early.
By locking him in now on a team-friendly deal, you guarantee you have either a very tradable asset or a cheap rotation piece for the next 3 years. It is a very smart front office maneuver, regardless of the scoreline last night.
Moving from the West Coast up to the Pacific Northwest. The Charlotte Hornets. Are we ready to have the conversation that Charlotte might be, dare I say it, actually good?
Good might be a massive understatement for how they are playing right now. They are electric.
They went into Portland and beat the Blazers 109-93. That is 4 straight wins for them. But the stat that absolutely jumped out to me in the notes you sent over, they hit 16 three-pointers last night.
And look at the trend.
Right. Over their last 3 games, they have made 72 threes. That ties the NBA record for a 3-game span. My question to you is this just a crazy hot streak, or is this an actual system?
It is a system, and it is a system built entirely around Brandon Miller. We need to talk about him because he is entering that elite tier of NBA wings right before our eyes.
26 points last night.
26 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 of 12 from deep. He isn't just a catch-and-shoot guy sitting in the corner anymore. He is operating as a primary initiator.
The numbers back it up. They are 27-17 when he plays this year. That is a 50-win pace.
Exactly. And the reason this crazy three-point volume is sustainable is because of the types of shots they are generating.
They aren't just chucking.
No, they aren't taking contested late shot clock heaves. They are generating clean corner threes and above-the-break threes through aggressive paint penetration.
Drive and kick.
But the guy actually making this entire high-variance strategy work isn't LaMelo Ball, and it isn't Miller, it is Moussa Diabate.
The center. He had 13 points and 11 rebounds. Explain how a traditional center makes a historic three-point shooting barrage work.
Well, he was a plus 24 in the box score last night for a reason. Here is the tactical nuance. When a team shoots 53s a game, there are going to be a lot of long rebounds.
Right. The ball bounces further off the rim on a missed 3 than a missed layup.
Exactly. Diabate is absolutely elite at tracking those long bounces down. He resets the possession, giving them second and third chances.
I see.
If they didn't have his offensive rebounding, this strategy would fall apart completely because one cold shooting quarter would kill them. He smooths out the variance of the math.
Conversely, you look at Portland last night. They shot 11 of 47 from 3. That is 23%.
That is the math problem of the modern NBA right there.
If Charlotte shoots 40% on high volume from deep and you shoot 23%, you have to make up a massive, massive deficit just to stay in the game.
Portland was basically trading 2s for 3s all night long. Even with Jrue Holiday scoring 25 and Jeremy Grant scoring 21, you just cannot overcome that mathematical gap. It is physically impossible.
Let's hit Miami quickly. The Heat beat the Rockets 115-105. Houston really controlled this game for the first three quarters.
They were great early.
Kevin Durant had 32 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. He looked like the best player on the floor by a mile. But then the fourth quarter happened. Miami wins the final frame 30-22.
It was the classic Miami culture squeeze.
What changed tactically?
Eric Spoelstra switched to a zone defense, slowed the pace of the game to an absolute crawl, and forced Houston's young guys to make rapid decisions, and they just couldn't process it.
And the hero for Miami wasn't Jimmy Butler, and it wasn't Bam Adebayo, though Bam was great with 24 points and 11 boards.
He dominated inside.
But the real swing guy was Pelle Larsson. 20 points off the bench, 10 of those in the decisive fourth quarter. Who is this guy?
He is the latest product out of the Miami Developmental Laboratory.
They keep finding these guys.
Think about Max Strus. Think about Gabe Vincent. Miami finds these fringe players who have one elite transferable skill. For Larsson, it is his downhill aggression and his cutting.
And they just simplify the game for him.
They tell him exactly where to be and when to cut. Houston, on the other hand, is really struggling with a massive timeline clash.
Two different eras on one roster.
Right. You have KD trying to win a title right this second, and you have Amen Thompson and Reed Shepherd trying to learn how to play winning NBA basketball.
Amen had 20 points, Reed had 14. But in crunch time, those two objectives really conflict, don't they?
You saw it last night perfectly. The spacing was completely off. The defensive rotations were a half step slow. That is the hidden tax of trying to develop youth and contend simultaneously.
Before we get to the massive deadline news, rapid fire on two other games. Raptors beat the Wizards 134-125.
Everyone in double figures for Toronto. But the Wizards have given up 130-plus points in back-to-back games now.
Fourth straight loss.
Their defensive rating is currently worse than the process-era Sixers. It is frankly unwatchable right now.
And the Pelicans beat the Jazz 115-105. Both teams at the bottom of the West.
Good for New Orleans morale, but it doesn't change the lottery trajectory for either franchise.
Okay, let's get into the absolute meat of the episode, the buyout market. Today's the deadline. We mentioned the guillotine rule at the top of the show.
Players have to be waived by today.
Right, but I want to really understand the why behind some of these moves. We saw the Dallas Mavericks officially waive Tyus Jones yesterday.
A massive ripple effect.
Tyus Jones is widely considered one of the best backup point guards in modern NBA history. He rarely turns the ball over. Why does a team like Dallas, who desperately wants to win, cut a player like that?
You have to look directly at the new collective bargaining agreement, specifically the second apron.
Okay, let's break that down for the listeners. What exactly is the second apron?
It is essentially a hard spending cap with incredibly severe penalties that was introduced in the last CBA.
It's not just a tax anymore.
No, it is punitive. If a team's payroll exceeds this specific threshold, they don't just pay a luxury tax. Their future draft picks get frozen 7 years out.
Wow.
They cannot aggregate salaries and trades. It completely handcuffs the franchise's flexibility. Dallas is dancing right on that dangerous line.
So cutting Jones is a financial play.
By waiving him, they save a prorated portion of salary, but more importantly, they clear a roster spot to convert Ryan Nembhard to a standard contract.
So it's mostly financial gymnastics.
Partially, but it is also about roster balance. Tyus needs the ball in his hands. Luka needs the ball. Kyrie needs the ball.
There is only one basketball out there.
Exactly. Nembhard is a much better point of attack defender and fits a low-usage role significantly better for what Dallas needs right now.
Which makes Tyus Jones a free agent.
And he instantly becomes the hottest commodity on the open market. If I am the Phoenix Suns or the Milwaukee Bucks teams that desperately need someone to just organize the half-court offense for 15 minutes a night, I am banging down his agent's door right now.
Speaking of the Suns, they actually made a move, too. They waived Cole Anthony.
That one is a pure fit waiver.
How so?
Cole is a bucket getter. He is instant offense off the bench, but he is a massive defensive liability.
Especially in the playoffs.
In a 7-game playoff series, opposing teams will hunt him on every single possession. Phoenix realized they couldn't realistically play him in a high-stakes series, so they cut him loose to try and find a defensive-minded wing on the buyout market.
We also saw the Spurs make a signing. They brought in Mason Plumlee for the rest of the season.
It is the perfect signing for them.
To pair with Wemby.
Exactly. You have Victor Wembanyama, who is literally a basketball alien. You need a sturdy veteran who can show him exactly how to be a professional.
The off-court stuff.
Diet, sleep schedules, travel routines. Plumlee is that guy. Plus, Plumlee is a highly underrated passer out of the high post. He fits the San Antonio way of ball movement perfectly.
Now, we have to talk about the attrition war going on right now, the injury report. The news out of Philadelphia yesterday is just brutal. Joel Embiid out at least 3 games with an oblique strain.
A huge blow to the East.
For the average listener, an oblique strain sounds like a minor side cramp. Why is this such a big deal for a guy like Joel?
The obliques are the muscles right on the side of your abdominal wall. They control all of your rotation and stabilization.
Which you use constantly in basketball.
Every time you jump for a rebound, every time you twist to contest a shot at the rim, every time you absorb heavy contact backing down on the post, you heavily engage your obliques.
And he takes a lot of contact.
For a guy Embiid's size, he's pushing 280 pounds. The sheer torque on that muscle is immense. If he tries to come back too early to help their seeding, he could tear it completely and his season is over.
And Philly is sitting at 39-20 right now. They are actively fighting for the number 2 seed.
Without him on the floor, they are a 500 team at absolute best. If this injury lingers for 2 or 3 weeks, they could easily drop down to the 5th or 6th seed and lose home court advantage entirely. This one injury changes the entire complexion of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
It's not just Philly dealing with this either. The Kings lost Keegan Murray to a bad ankle sprain. He's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks.
That is a dagger for Sacramento.
Because of the shooting.
Yes. He provides the crucial perimeter spacing that lets De'Aaron Fox operate in the paint. Without him out there, the floor shrinks dramatically.
We also saw Norman Powell is week to week with a groin strain for Miami, and Cooper Flagg is dealing with a foot sprain, likely out 2 more games.
The war of attrition is very real this time of year.
Speaking of changing the landscape, let's pivot to the media landscape for a second. Rich Paul, the super agent behind LeBron and countless others, went on air with Max Kellerman yesterday and basically declared war on fake news.
It was a truly fascinating interview to watch.
He wants a verification system for real journalists. What is driving this?
He is essentially arguing that the blue check mark on social media has completely lost its meaning.
Which is objectively true.
Right. And he says that aggregators are actively destroying basketball discourse.
Define aggregator for the listeners who might not be on NBA Twitter all day.
An aggregator is typically an account that takes a 10-second video clip from a nuanced 60-minute deep dive like this one, strips away all the surrounding context, and posts it with a highly sensational headline just to farm clicks and engagement.
Outrage bait.
Exactly. Rich Paul is arguing that this practice genuinely damages his clients' reputations and alters their market value.
Is he right about that? Or is this just a powerful agent trying to monopolize and control the narrative around his guys?
It is a little bit of both, honestly. He is absolutely right that nuance is dead online. Players are terrified to speak candidly in interviews because they know a minor quote will be viral without context in 10 minutes.
That part is undeniable.
However, the idea of licensing journalists is incredibly dangerous territory.
Who watches The Watchmen?
Exactly. Who holds the keys to that verification? If the NBA or the big talent agencies get to decide who is a real journalist, they will only ever credential people who write nice, glowing things about them.
That isn't journalism anymore. That's just PR.
It is a very messy ecosystem right now.
Which is exactly why we appreciate you listening to the deep dive, where we actually read the full transcripts and give you the full context.
Verified facts only here.
All right, let's look forward. Tonight, Sunday, March 1st, there is a game tipping off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern that is pure tactical heaven for basketball nerds. The Minnesota Timberwolves at the Denver Nuggets.
This is the heavyweight fight of the weekend.
Both teams are sitting at 37-23. This is literally the tiebreaker for the 4th seed in the West.
The stakes are massive for playoff positioning.
The matchup is obviously Nikola Jokic going up against the twin towers of Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. Jokic is having another completely alien season.
As always,
28.7 points, 12.6 rebounds, 10.5 assists. But Taylor, you highlighted a specific stat in the prep notes today. 77% true shooting.
it is quite literally a video game number.
Explain true shooting really quickly.
True shooting percentage weighs free throws and three-pointers mathematically to give a much more accurate measure of a player's actual scoring efficiency.
Okay.
For context, a 60% true shooting mark is considered elite in the NBA. 77% is completely unheard of. It basically means that almost every single time Jokic decides to shoot the basketball, it is guaranteed points on the board.
So how does a defense like Minnesota even try to stop him? They have the size, obviously.
The schematic battle tonight is going to be single coverage versus the roam.
Break that down.
Minnesota is totally unique in the league because they have the personnel to put Karl-Anthony Towns on Jokic one-on-one and let Rudy Gobert roam off a non-shooter to protect the rim from the weak side.
Like a free safety in football.
Exactly. This is historically the only viable way to beat Denver. If you double-team Jokic, he just passes out of it, and they score an open three. You have to make him a volume scorer, but you have to have a second layer of defense waiting at the rim for when he inevitably backs Towns down.
Denver currently leads the league in true shooting impact, which essentially means their system generates the highest quality shots in the NBA.
By a wide margin.
If Minnesota's defensive rotations are even a split-second slow tonight, Denver will absolutely carve them up.
The key for Minnesota is executing in the half court. They cannot afford to turn the ball over. If they let Denver run out in transition, they lose. They need to turn this game into a slow, grinding mud wrestling match.
Later tonight at 8:00 p.m. Eastern, we have the Atlantic Clash. Philadelphia-Boston. We already mentioned Embiid is out with the oblique. Paul George is also out tonight serving a suspension.
The Hospital Sixers roll into TD Garden.
So it is officially the Tyrese Maxey show tonight.
Yeah.
Can he really carry the scoring load solo and beat Boston?
It is an incredibly tall order. Boston has arguably the best perimeter defensive backcourt in the entire league with Jrue Holiday and Derek White.
So what's the game plan for the Celtics?
Their strategy will be incredibly simple. Blitz him.
Send two to the ball.
Every single time Maxey touches the basketball coming across half court, they're going to send two aggressive defenders at him and force the ball out of his hands immediately.
Make someone else beat you?
They are going to dare Kelly Oubre or Caleb Martin to hit enough shots to win a road game in Boston.
Boston is 33-26 right now. They desperately need this win to climb back into that top tier of the East.
If Boston somehow loses at home to a Sixers team missing two MVP-level players, the panic meter in Boston is going to completely break the glass. They absolutely need this win tonight.
Also at 8:00 p.m., we have the MVP showcase game. Oklahoma City at Dallas. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let me just ask you point blank, is the MVP race already over?
I really think it is.
The numbers are staggering.
31.9 points per game, a 33.0 player efficiency rating. He is shooting 66% true shooting as a guard.
Those are prime Michael Jordan efficiency numbers.
And tonight he gets to face a Dallas defense that literally just waived one of its reliable veterans yesterday and is actively retooling its rotations on the fly.
How does Dallas even try to guard him?
Dallas plays a defensive scheme that actively funnels perimeter players into the paint, relying heavily on their bigs to block shots at the rim.
Right, Gafford and Lively.
But here is the problem. Both Gafford and Lively are young, and they bite hard on pump fakes. SGA is the undisputed king of the pump fake right now.
He plays at such a unique pace.
He drives, he stops on a dime, he pivots, he fakes. I fully expect him to have 15 free throw attempts tonight. He's going to live at the foul line against this Dallas front court.
One last game we have to spotlight tonight, and is the team with the actual best record in the NBA right now.
Say it loud.
It still feels a little weird to say this out loud, but the Detroit Pistons, 44-14. They play Orlando tonight at 6:00 DM Eastern. Why is no one in the national media talking about Detroit as a legitimate title favorite?
It is pure cognitive dissonance.
Explain that.
We have spent a full decade watching Detroit dwell in the draft lottery, so our collective basketball brains simply refuse to accept the reality that they are now elite.
But they are.
Cade Cunningham has officially made the superstar leap. He is leading the entire league right now with 9.8 assists per game.
He dictates everything.
He is controlling the pace of games exactly like a prime Luka Dončić does, but he actually has a roster full of elite, switchable defenders around him.
They are 44-14. That isn't some fluky small sample size in November. It is March 1st.
They defend at a high level, they share the basketball, and selfishly, and most importantly, they are healthy.
Which brings us to the big picture.
Exactly, and that actually brings me to my final thought for today's analysis.
Bring it home for us.
We are witnessing the definitive death of the super team era and the rapid rise of the healthy team era.
The standings prove it.
Just look at the standings and look at the injury report we just read. Embiid, Curry, John Morant, Trae Young, Paul George, all these massive stars are out.
The attrition is real.
The teams dominating at the very top right now, Detroit, OKC, Minnesota, they aren't necessarily the ones with the most famous names shining on the marquee.
Right.
They're the franchises with the most cohesive available rosters. The NBA champion this year will not be the team with the highest theoretical ceiling on paper. It will be the team that simply survives the long war of attrition.
Availability truly is the best ability.
It is the only ability that matters in May and June.
And my final thought for the listener, do not sleep on Detroit. Watch that game tonight against Orlando.
It's a great test for them.
If they go out and handle their business against a tough, physical Magic team, we need to universally start talking about them as the absolute favorites to come out of the East.
Meanwhile, I will be staring at my phone, constantly refreshing the waiver wire. Who else gets cut by midnight? That is where the real front office drama is today.
Keep refreshing those feeds. We will be back tomorrow to break down every single signing, every single waiver, and all the fallout from the deadline. This has been The Deep Dive. Thanks for spending your Sunday with us.
See you tomorrow.